Titans Talk continues on here on News Channel 5 Plus. Steve Layman with you tonight, and our phone lines are open 737-7767. Mac has been waiting through the break. Mac, we appreciate that. Welcome to Titans Talk.
All right. I'd just like to know why come every time it's first down, they hand the ball to Derrick Henry and they let him run up the middle and the line is not blocking. How come the Titans don't have a fullback blocking for him?
Well, they did a couple times yesterday. I mean, the fullback's kind of a lost position in the NFL, but they brought some tight ends back there. Chigakonkwo was in the backfield a couple times yesterday to try to help out on that, but it still didn't matter very much. There was no space to run.
Yeah, and I wonder, do they have plays where he can run outside?
Sure. They've tried some of those pitches. They just haven't had much effectiveness with it this season. In the past, they've had more success with it, and I think one of the big things there is Taylor Lewan was terrific at that. Whatever you think of him, and he was a very good player, but one of his best strengths was getting to the outside and blocking down the field out there, and Dennis Daly's just not that guy, and I think Nick Petit-Frere has been okay as a rookie right tackle, but his strength at the moment is pass blocking, not run blocking. So I don't think you have that guy on the other side of the line of scrimmage either.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, I just wanted to get that in. I was just wondering what was going on with the blocking. There's nobody blocking for Derrick Henry, and sooner or later, we hate for him to get hurt.
Yeah. But no question, and the problem is he's not getting going. Mac, we appreciate the call. This offensive line is just not getting the job done. That is the bottom line of what's going on. And some people suggest, okay, well, they got to be less predictable with their play calling. And they do hand the ball off to Derrick Henry a ton on first down. But here's part of the problem. So yesterday in the second quarter of that game, it was early second quarter, I think it was 7-7 at this point in time. Might be 14-7, might have been right after the Eagles scored. But it was still early on and very much a football game at that point. Titans come out on first down, and they run a play-action pass. Go against the tendency, right? It's not a handoff to Derrick Henry. You have a couple wide receivers in pattern, both in one-on-one situations. Neither guy gets any real separation. Tannehill throws a ball that's on the money to Robert Woods, but he has a defender all over him, and it's a contested catch with a guy reaching his arm in there. He doesn't make it. So now it's incomplete on a schemed-up play on first down because you don't have separation and you can't make the play as a receiver. And so now it's second and long. And then it becomes third and long very quickly, and this team just isn't set up to do that. And so that's the problem. I hear a lot of people say all the time, why aren't you passing it more on first down? Why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? Later on, they were down in the red zone. 1st and 10 at the 17-yard line. They try and set up a screen for Derrick Henry because you figure people are selling out to stop the run. So let's try and get him out of the backfield and get him the ball down there, and maybe you can carry it in on the pass. Well, it's incomplete. It would have been about a 5-yard gain. Eagles snuffed it out pretty well, but he drops it. So now it's second down and long. Now you got to pass, you get a 9-yard gain, and then you get that disastrous false start that leads to a third and long. You got to pass, and then it's a sack. Now you're kicking a field goal. Those are the types of problems. It is about execution, and frankly, at some point, it's got to be about guys just stepping up and making plays. Guys have to arrive to the occasion and make a play for you. And right now, they're not on this offense. Go to line 3, say hello to Ray. Ray, good evening.
Good evening. I think you made some great points about John Robinson, and I'd just like to ask you a question based on some of your points. If the Titans' identity is to establish the run, and Derrick Henry is considered the best running back in the NFL, and then the last 2 years they've lost in the first round of the playoffs with A.J. Brown, if they had given him $20 million, then Tannehill, Henry, and Brown would account for almost 30% of the cap. So my question is, would it make sense to give him that kind of money?
It's a great question, and it's hard to get into the dollars and cents completely of the full salary cap, but I would posit this. Tannehill's number is going to drop significantly after this season. His number is as high as it is right now because of the money that they pushed into this season in order to be able to sign Julio Jones last year. Another move from John Robinson that didn't work out, obviously. But Tannehill's number comes down significantly next year, whether they decide to keep him or cut him. So that won't be nearly the same number. Derrick Henry, you've got under contract, obviously, for the next couple of seasons. A.J. Brown, to me, is a long-term playmaker there. So, to me, I would have taken the money that you had for Tannehill, and I would have pushed it to A.J. Brown if it were me. And if that means that you have to part ways with Tannehill at the end of the season, I think that's okay. I like Tannehill. I'm a big Tannehill supporter because I think he's changed who they are as an offense. He's obviously an upgrade on Marcus Mariota, who was an upgrade on the 5 or 6 quarterbacks before him. So, I think Tannehill's been a very good player here. But I also don't think he's completely irreplaceable. I think there are other guys out there who can play a serviceable job at quarterback with a all-time great running back and one of the best wide receivers in the league. I don't think you can just find another one of the best wide receivers in the league. So, to me, that would have been my solution. I even think, and I know this is blasphemy, I think in terms of the absolute value to the team, I think AJ's more important than Derrick is. Because we saw it last year when Derrick got hurt. Now, granted, the offensive line was way better last year. But when Derrick got hurt, they put in Deontay Foreman and Dontrell Hilliard, and they still ran the ball fairly effectively for the rest of that season. It wasn't Derrick Henry good, but it was still pretty good. The difference between filling in for Derrick last year is not nearly as big as what they're trying to do right now without A.J. Brown. So I agree with you that the contract situation, you got to worry about Jeff Simmons out there too, and you just played Harold Landry and Bud. You got to worry about all that, and it is a sticky situation. But to me, A.J. Brown was perhaps the most valuable player on this team in terms of what he meant to the overall function of the offense, and I think you see that right now. So I think it was an enormous mistake not to pay him. Oh, sorry, Ray. I thought you were gone there. If you want to call back, I'd be happy to get you right back in. But, that's the thing. And it is difficult. And I think John Robinson did a masterful job of building this roster up. But he had the roster in a place where they could compete realistically within the AFC, within football, to get to that Super Bowl place. And we couldn't figure that out. So that is a disappointment. All right, we'll take another break. Phone line still open, 737-7767. This is Titans Talk on News Channel 5+.